We have got a great guest joining us today here on our broadcast, here on the telephone. And we have chatted with him before and very interested in chatting with him today. Paul Mendocha is with us here on our big broadcast. And shutdown or turnaround, a post-COVID-19 reopening plan. And Paul is a turnaround specialist. He's a serial entrepreneur and author of Remote Work for a Better World. And most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Paul Mendocha with us today here on the telephone. Paul, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate to be back on.
Now, tell us about this. What is happening here? This shutdown turnaround situation.
Well, the shutdown put a lot of businesses in jeopardy, and it put these businesses to a point where there's 32.5 million businesses in the U.S., and my contention is that all but about 5 of them are going to need some amount of turning around, restructuring, and redoing things. And I don't think anybody's talking about that right now. And because of that, I think there's going to be a lot of uncertainty that people aren't even aware of.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big program, and Paul Mendocha is with us. He spent 4 years in Las Vegas learning how to win and discovering how people really are, especially about money. And he joins us today here on our broadcast. He's also the author of the best-selling book, Remote Work for a Better World. So, Paul, this, by the way, if you want to pick the books up, they are available on Amazon, or you can go to survivethequarantine.com for more information. So, what are the best ways to approach a turnaround post-COVID-19?
Well, the first thing you have to realize is that you're going to have to work harder, probably 2-4 times harder for less money. And I watch interviews, I talk to clients, and people say, well, John, when we get back to normal, well, that's not happening. We have actually moved to a different place, and that means that you have to kind of readjust where your head is at. And most importantly, to turn around is you have to contact every single customer you possibly can. And if you aren't doing that right now, then you are making a huge mistake.
We have got Paul Mendocha with us today. He joins us live here in our broadcast. So your book is a great inside look at some of the different things going on. Give us your thoughts and feelings on why you decided to write this book.
Well, the first book I wrote because I just had seen so many businesses that really failed, and they didn't even know they were, dead men walking. The second book, Remote Work for a Better World, is the fact that the entire world stopped spinning and a whole bunch of people flew off out into space.
Just like that, he flew off into space. That is amazing. We are, we're going to wait here because I know he's gonna call us back. But that was impeccable timing. I hope he planned that. It is the world-famous KJAG Radio broadcast. We are live coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio. Also, AMFM247.com. Tune in, iTunes, of course, Periscope, and the fantastic Twitch, which used to be Justin TV, by the way. I remember when it was Justin TV, and I would tell people, hey, we're also on castbox.fm, whatever the hell that is. I always like to say whatever the hell that is. But that was hopefully that was planned. Hopefully Paul Mendocha planned that. We're going to give him a few moments here because I think he's going to be back with us. I think he's just going to give us a holla, 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 holla here. If not, I guess I can give him a call. But let me see here if I can just give him a call on the old telephone, on the traditional telephone, as they say. I wish he would do Skype. I wish some of these people would do Skype. They're all at home. They got nothing to do. They're not working. I'm like, why can't we just do the old Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney? But there's a lot of people that are not doing Skype or Skype-a-rooney, so we'll just call him back on Skype. See if he'll pick up the horn. We'll see what happens. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
Well,
There we are.
We're back.
Yes, I hope you planned that, because you said all these businesses go flying out into the space and then we lost you. So I sure hope that was planned. But John Paul Mendocha with us today. He joins us live. Shut down or turn around, a post-COVID-19 reopening plan, and he joins us today here on a broadcast. So is reevaluating your brand the best strategy to take with this?
Yeah, so what you have to do is you have to decide what customers are going to look for today in a post-COVID-19 world. You have to make sure that you are going to work with them and reach out to them. And more importantly is that they've changed their habits, right? We've just spent how much time in lockdown. So things that we thought were going to be this way or that way are going to be different. And you have to go out and reach out to them. I am very surprised at how many businesses are doing very little marketing. You know, branding is good, but you have to reach out to people and get them. You got to grab them.
We have got John Paul Mendocha with us today. He joins us live here in our broadcast. He has got a great book. It is called Survive the Quarantine. And we're getting a call from Niall Nickel, who's calling us a little early, but we will get to Niall Nickel here in just a few moments. But so John, this book, Survive the Quarantine, is incredibly well written. Talk to me a little bit about some of the reviews and some of the feedback you've gotten on the book so far.
Well, we've gotten a lot of good reviews, because what I think people are realizing is that they can actually get meaningful things done without having to go to an office or having to go to a place. By the way, I think that means that if I'm in commercial real estate, I'm a little bit nervous right now. I also think that if you look at, Facebook, think about it. Here's Facebook, one of the companies that probably doesn't need to turn around or restructure, and yet on May 21st, Mark Zuckerberg made the announcement in the Wall Street Journal that half of his workforce will end up not coming back to a real physical office. He's moving half of his workforce out. My contention is he'll move more of that out. So the reviews have been very positive. And by the way, it doesn't just apply to somebody like Facebook. It applies to every single business that's out there. How do you find a way to lower your costs by changing how you deliver value to your customers?
Fantastic. It is John Paul Mendocha. He's with us today here in our broadcast. Survive the Quarantine is the latest from him. And so what do you think what are some of the lessons that should have been taught to businesses with this?
That when something hits, that you shouldn't say, okay, I'm going to go spend my time and energy signing up for the government handout or bailout. And I know it's helped a lot of businesses, but that's a small fraction. What businesses really needed to do is say, okay, did I go out there and reach out to customers? Real quick story, there's these two guys who fix Hondas and Acuras. They fix my cars. I brought my Acura over there. I didn't even know these guys were open. They're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, hoping the government's going to give them money. And I said, hey, are you guys open? Oh, yeah, we're open. Yeah, we're ready to go. And, so they fixed it. And I said, okay, how are you guys reaching out to people? Because you didn't touch me. If you had touched me, I would have brought you business sooner. And they said, well, here's how our business works, is that every morning we get in and we roll up the big steel doors and people show up. And we've been doing that for 15 years, and that's all we've been doing. And they have no idea that while the crisis was going on, they were literally sitting around playing cards with each other with a certain amount of distance, with no idea that they needed to spend 8 hours a day if they were empty, getting a hold of people and saying, you know what, we are open, and you want to get your car fixed, now's the time to do it.
It is Jean Paul Mendocha. He's with us today here in our broadcast. We are talking about the shutdown or turnaround, a post-COVID-19 reopening plan. Is using fear as a motivator a proper way to build a presence?
Well, I think it works for a short term, but I think long term is you have to be able to deliver something that people, are going to embrace and want to keep coming back to. Usually if somebody becomes fearful of something, they use it for the time being, and then they eventually move on and say, well, I really don't want to do that. But yeah, I also think that you can't be naive and not tell people, this is the way the world is, and you've got to be right up front about it. You can't ignore it.
It is John Paul Mendocha. He is with us today. John Paul Mendocha is with us. Remote Work for a Better World is the latest from him. So what's been some of the reviews, the feedback, criticism you've gotten on the book so far?
Well, the positive reviews have been always all about how, while you're using a service like Zoom, that's important, but it's more than that. I would say the criticism has been is that some people say, well, I could go figure this out on my own. And my answer to them is, sure you can. We could all go out and figure these things out, but do you actually have the time to do that? I think that one of the nicest stories is that have an 87-year-old grandmother who couldn't see her grandchildren, couldn't do her, her Bible study, and she read the book and started using Zoom, and now she's organized her senior friends, and she's talking and seeing her grandchildren, and she's been doing that since the book came out. So that's a side benefit that we never thought about because we're very business-oriented. But she took it and ran with it.
Fantastic. It is Jean Paul Mendocha. He was with us today here in our broadcast. And before we let you go, my friend, how do we find you online, social media, websites, all these things?
Well, you can go to the original book site is positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. Find out about a lot of things. I also do a weekly Facebook Live, which is called The Raging Verbalist. I know you're going to find that hard to believe. And I'm also have a YouTube channel. So those are the ways you can find me. And always love talking to your audience and talking to you.
Definitely. Why?